week on Overdrive, the newly launched Aprilia Tuono 457 takes on the KTM 390 Duke in a gripping battle. We also catch up with an MG Windsor EV owner chatting about his ownership experience. Hello and welcome to Overdrive. I am Soini Dutt. The sub 500cc naked bike segment just got more exciting with the arrival of the Aprilia Tuono 457, challenging the segment's reigning champion, the KTM 390 Duke. While the KTM is loaded with advanced tech and rider aids, the Tuono counters with a punchy twin-cylinder setup. Let's first size these two motorcycles on grounds of design and performance.
Now, when it comes to sub 500cc naked sport motorcycles out here in India, there's nothing that comes close to the KTM 390 Duke because, well, this motorcycle, the prices start at 2,95,000 rupees ex-showroom, and for that, well, as a complete package for the amount of power you have on tap, the agility, the dynamics, adjustable suspension, the amount of electronics you have on there, it's just a phenomenal package, and with good reason. This motorcycle sits on top of that particular chain. But now there's a new kid in town in the form of the Aprilia Tuono 457. Promises some really outstanding Italian flair and styling. It's got an additional cylinder, it's up on power and torque than the Duke, and of course it is not going to come cheap. It's a good 1 lakh in addition to the cost that you would pay for the KTM 390 Duke. So how good does this motorcycle measure up out in the real world? Who does what better? We are here to find out. So let's get right to it. In the looks department, I quite like the styling of both these motorcycles. Aside from their faces though, the KTM, well, it looks sharp, chiseled and very athletic with all those cuts, creases, and even its overall proportions look really nice. While the Aprilia, on the other hand, it looks beefy, muscular, and even a tad bulky in the midsection on account of that big fuel tank. But if I'm being honest, when it comes to their faces, the 390 Duke has the face of a bike that ran into a brick wall. But it's rather consistent when you consider the aggressive styling of the bigger Dukes in KTM's lineup. Now the Tuono 457, it looks like a bug in the juvenile stage of its life cycle. Unlike any of the better looking bigger Tuonos with their fixed split headlamp units. But one thing is for certain, you won't mistake either of these two motorcycles for any other on account of those unique DRL setups on both motorcycles, which gives each of them a distinctive look when you see them rapidly approach in your rearview mirrors. Now I know looks are a touchy topic and not all will agree with me on this, but an aspect that will have mostly everyone seeing eye to eye is the critical aspect of performance, and both these motorcycles are very unique in terms of their expression of it. Alright, so when it comes to the engine and the performance aspect of these engines, well, both are very dissimilar. They both have unique characteristics that make them really interesting and very unique. Now, the KTM's LC4C engine, we've gotten accustomed to it over the course of time. Single cylinder, liquid cooled, lovely motor, around 46 PS of max power, 37 Nm of max torque. Great all throughout, especially once you get up to around 4,500 RPM. This thing really wants to take off, and it's great, immense fun in every riding condition. But yeah, now this motorcycle, you will have to, it gets a 6-speed gearbox, slip and assist clutch, bi-directional quick shifter on there as well. But somewhere in the city, well, you will have to shift gears a lot more, have to be on the power constantly, especially lower down the power band to keep things in check. And yeah, once you are in that sweet spot, there's no stopping this machine. And in terms of refinement, well, yes, this motorcycle, the engine is refined by KTM standards, but it's nowhere close to the refinement that you have with the Aprilia's parallel twin. So yes, this is an all-new motor. We've seen it first with the RS457. Same motor on there, same configuration. The parallel twin, it has around 60 cubic centimeters over the KTM. It's up on power and torque as well. Yeah, it is around 47.5 PS of max power, 43.5 Nm of max torque. Super smooth lower down the power band, brilliant mid and top end whack as well. Butter smooth all throughout. It's really enjoyable. And yeah, you do have a slip and assist clutch on this particular bike as well, but sadly you don't have a bidirectional quick shifter with the 6-speed gearbox, so that should have been offered as standard fitment in my opinion. But yes, immense fun, both these motorcycles, especially these engines. Well, if you buy these motorcycles, you're buying these bikes for the performance, and both these motorcycles really hold true in that particular aspect, because you are always assured of having a complete blast whichever one of these motorcycles you choose in terms of performance. Both these motorcycles handle triple-digit speeds with aplomb, and it's just that you'll have to work the KTM a little harder to get there, while it feels a little more effortless with the Aprilia. But then again, that's what you'd really expect, having an additional combustion chamber in there, right? Now, both these motorcycles offer exhilarating performance, but when it comes to stopping power, the KTM manages rapid reduction in speed all the better. If you're into riding hard and fast, the brakes on the 390 Duke feel more progressive and predictable than the set on the Tuono 457. The Aprilia comes with those brilliant Eurogrip tyres, which are way better than the pair of Metzeller's on the KTM. But when you go on a relatively long and fast ride on the Tuono, if you're aggressive on the brakes, you'll feel this sort of faded feel and response from the brakes, especially on the front lever, over a short course of time. But if you calm things down and take it nice and easy, you won't really feel this. Now, I can't help but feel that the younger you are or the more aggressive your riding style is, the more you'll fancy the KTM, while the older or more mature and relaxed riders, like yours truly, will appreciate the composure of the Aprilia. Because you see, it's got you covered performance-wise, and the engine, well, it just feels that much more tractable. Also, just listening to that exhaust note of the parallel twin open up on an open stretch of road is just so addictive, it's sure to turn into a habit. It's awesome how both these motorcycles will keep you entertained as soon as you set off in their own character-filled ways. But what's even more interesting is how both these motorcycles feel just as soon as you saddle up.
But we're not done with the motorcycles just yet. We'll take a very quick break here on the show, but coming up on the other side, we'll tell you which sub 500cc motorcycle you might want to put your money on. Welcome back. You're with us on Overdrive. We're deep in the midst of a spicy comparison test between the Aprilia Tuono 457 and the KTM 390 Duke, and it's now time to pit these motorcycles in terms of handling and ergonomics, and it's also time to find out which motorcycle you might want to put your money on.
Alright, so now when it comes to the seating position of the Aprilia, the Tuono 457, seat height is rated at around 800 mm, which is the same as the KTM. But yeah, once you actually get astride the bike, you have this nice big bike feel, pretty much because of this, well, bulbous tank out here between your legs. Now, yeah, riding position wise, your upper body is rather relaxed with the wide handlebar, but you have this bulbous tank, which strangely has just a 12.8 litre reservoir, which is much smaller than the unit on the KTM, but it gives you that big bike feel as soon as you get astride. When it comes to your riding position, your feet, it does feel a little cramped because it is rather set back in a rather sporty position, not too committed though. But yeah, just a little over 2 hours of riding out here today, and I did have the blood loss to my feet cut off. So that was a little, well, underwhelming, because yeah, fancy longer tours on this motorcycle, it will be a little bit of an issue the taller you are per se. On the other hand, the KTM 800 mm seat height, that's the standard seat. You do have 20 mm, an optional seat that KTM give you, and the taller you are, well, you will fancy that seat on there, because yeah, as you can see, the rider triangle a lot more relaxed. This motorcycle feels a lot more compact, even with this smaller, well, it looks smaller, but the reservoir is a good 15 litres. Fancy touring on this motorcycle, it will feel a lot more comfortable than something like the Aprilia. Alright, so once you get astride the KTM 390 Duke, well, you feel that this motorcycle is very nice and compact. The handlebar is nice and close as well. Even when in the city, if you have to weave through traffic, well, the tank is at a lower position, so even if you are at full lock, well, just getting through standstill traffic just feels all the more easier to get past. And yeah, very nice, perky motorcycle at the end of it. Now, the taller you are, the more you'll fancy the wide and flat handlebar position of the Aprilia, because it'll have your upper body in a very relaxed position, while your lower body will feel a little cramped. On the other hand, the KTM, well, it feels a lot more ergonomically sound because, well, your legs are in a better state of being on this motorcycle. And if you're into longer stints on the saddle, you'll definitely fancy this one over the Aprilia. As you would expect, the suspension setup on both these motorcycles is on the stiffer side of things. But the KTM allows you to make adjustments on the front and preload at the rear without having any tools on hand. And you can't say the same about the Aprilia, which offers you the adjustability but not as convenient as the KTM. Now, the KTM, well, it feels lighter up top and easier to tip into a corner and make brisk changes in direction. While the Aprilia, well, it feels a lot more composed and planted mid-corner once you're completely committed. And it's aided by the commendable traction from those tires. Now, the 390 Duke, well, prices start at around 2,95,000 for this one. And all things considering, with the power you have on tap, the electronic suite you have on there, the adjustable suspension, which you don't need tools to really adjust. You have stuff like a multi-axis IMU, so you have cornering ABS, cornering traction control, you have launch control on this motorcycle as well, and with the latest update you even have cruise control. And in terms of agility, power, dynamics, this feels like a very nice compact motorcycle, and if that's your thing, single cylinder, it is refined by KTM standards. But in terms of ride dynamics, this one feels a lot more agile, and the more youthful you are, the more you'll pretty much fancy this one. Now, both these motorcycles are outstanding performance-focused machines, but it all boils down to a head versus heart kind of scenario according to me. Now, my head goes with the feature-packed value-for-money KTM that will be a lot more affordable maintenance-wise, while my heart is with the brilliant-sounding Aprilia twin-cylinder with its big bike feel. But sadly, the sales and service network of the Italian manufacturer will mean that the entire overall experience of ownership is either going to be a complete hit or a miss.
Well, it's time to head into our final break here on the show, but don't go anywhere because on the other side we find out what it's like to be an MG Windsor owner. Stay with us, you're watching Overdrive. Welcome back here with us on Overdrive. EVs are booming, right? Better batteries, more range and great features mean they're on a roll. But what's it really like to own one? Anitji chatted with an MG Windsor EV owner to get the lowdown.
MG entered the Indian market and introduced products that have been refined, impactful and most importantly, premium. With its foray into the EV segment, MG Motor India walked an interesting path with products that are not only efficient and have great features, but are also unique. The cute little Comet has received much acclaim from the Indian audience, and so has the ZS EV. But this one very British named EV has taken the market by storm. Apologies for my terrible attempt at the British accent. I'm actually talking about the Windsor EV. For starters, the Windsor EV looks strikingly fresh and different. And it has tons of space and features which makes it an amazing MPV. No? SUV. No? What did the marketing guys say? CUV. You see, this is a crossover utility vehicle. So it gives you the space of the MPVs, the feels of the SUVs, and so much more. The Windsor EV sports a 38 kWh battery pack that delivers a range of 332 kilometers on a single charge. It supports 45 kilowatt charging, so you can charge this one pretty quick as well. In terms of performance, the Windsor EV is pretty punchy with its 136 PS power output and 200 Newton meters of torque. You see, the Windsor EV in terms of features is pretty fancy. After all, it's named after a castle, isn't it? So gotta be fancy. Now let's talk pricing. You see, MG introduced this very interesting BAAS or battery as a service subscription plan where you buy the car and not the battery, subscribe to the battery and pay per kilometer. That's pretty nice. This significantly drops the price while you get to enjoy the luxury of the Windsor EV. Not just that, MG also comes with a 360 buyback assurance, meaning that if you sell your car after 3 years or 60,000 kilometers, you at least get a 60% buyback value. So that's mostly all about the Windsor EV, but today we are not here for that. We're here to get on ground and talk to an EV owner, mostly a Windsor owner, who is waiting for us to give a raw and honest feedback on his Windsor experience. So let's not waste any more time and get on with it. Today we have Himanshu with us, who is a primary Windsor owner. Thank you so much for being here, and we're going to go take a ride.
Yep.
And I'm going to drop you back right here. So before we melt, let's get in the AC. So thank you so much, Himanshu, for joining us on this Q&A. I won't call it a Q&A, we're just chatting over EVs and how you are enjoying your new Windsor. So how long have you been using your Windsor now?
I think it has been approximately 6 to 7 months.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it, I think somewhere end of October. And since then, it has been my primary vehicle, I can say that.
All right, that's great. And is the Windsor the only car at your place? Is it the primary vehicle for your entire family?
Like I said, it's the primary vehicle. But since I was a bit skeptical while going for an EV initially, so I held back with, one of the other ICE vehicles that I had.
All right.
Yeah. But then I had done away with the other one. So yeah. But since I've bought it, I think I've been using this primarily, and it has been very rarely I've been using my other vehicle.
So as promised, you're right back over here. I just have one last question. What is your message for new EV owners or for people who are thinking about switching to an EV, but yet thinking again?
Okay, so my message to people who are thinking about purchasing an EV is don't let your doubts hold you back. EVs are a big thumbs up, given, like I said before, given the financial independence it brings along. And if you're worried about that upfront cost, then BAS is specially designed for you. So don't hold yourself back, and you would be doing good to the environment and good to your pocket as well.
So thank you so much for being with us and talking all about EVs. It was great having you, and let's hope we catch up soon again.
Sure, Anirjit. Thank you so much.
So this is what you get when you are on a one-to-one conversation with a real-world EV owner who did a lot of calculations before he purchased his EV. Himanshu says that his idea or his decision of buying the EV, the Windsor EV, was one of the best that he made, and he cannot stop talking about it. And we got to know so much that this city car, the city EV, is setting such high standards with multitudes of feature, lots of space and lots of tech, and has so much more to offer that keeps you wanting for more. So this is me saying goodbye from Delhi. I'll see you next time.
With that, it's a wrap on this week's edition of Overdrive. But remember, you can stay in touch with the team through our various social media platforms. You can write to us on YouTube. We'll see you next week. Until then, goodbye. Many thanks for watching. Drive and ride safe.